Thank you so much for tuning in. We are going to be doing a really exciting and fun project that you are seeing all over all the home decor buzz going on right now. We are going to teach you here live in the next 30 minutes to maybe an hour how to create a faux barn board finish, and then we're going to create a beautiful driftwood effect from it. So if you've never done this before, but we're seeing it all over, you've got shiplap all over the homes now. There's so much of this old sort of faux barn board effect going on right now. This is what you want to watch. And we're going to get started here right away with how to do this project. I love to just dive into my projects, so let's get started. We've got lots of great products that we're going to be using today, and it's actually very simple. You only need a couple of products to create this beautiful faux barn board texture. So the really cool thing is we're not only just creating the look of faux barn board, we're actually going to create the texture of it too. So it's going to feel like real wood. How awesome is that? So I've got Fusion Mineral Paint here, and if you haven't heard of Fusion Mineral Paint before, I'm actually the president and creator of Fusion Mineral Paint, and it's a beautiful product to use that is zero VOC and really, really stunning. And as you can see, I'm going to start off here with a color, and it's called Linen. It's kind of that sort of gray, beige color. Are we having technical difficulties, or is everything okay? We're all good?
I'm just going to zoom in a little bit.
Excellent. So I'm using a really inexpensive brush here, and I want to show you how easy it is to get incredible coverage with our product. Fusion Mineral Paint actually has real mineral pigments in it, that is why you're going to get such incredible coverage from it. It's also why it's zero VOC. So when you're painting indoors, it's really important to have a product that you don't have chemicals off-gassing. And anyone that has children, you would definitely want to have something that is a zero VOC, because you want to make sure that your indoor air quality is really, really good. So I'm just showing you how quick and easy it is to do using a small brush. But typically when you are painting a piece of a larger size like this, you're going to want to use maybe a slightly bigger brush. So when I turn this onto its side, I'm going to show you how to apply it with a larger brush. But again, look at this coverage. You're going to get almost solid coverage in one coat. Now, Fusion Mineral Paint comes in over 50 different colors, which is phenomenal. So it's bound to suit any style or design that you have in your home. And again, if you have any questions at all of where to find it, we're going to tell you where you can get this beautiful product. Okay, so I just want you to see what I'm doing here close up. So I applied the paint, right? And then I'm going over it to get rid of any lines or brush strokes that I had there, because sometimes one of the tips that I see a lot of people doing, they use too much paint on their brush, right? So if I'm putting too much paint on, what am I doing? I'm leaving texture behind. So what I want to do is actually come back and remove some of that. Now, another thing I see people often doing is brushing back and forth like this in the same spot. What am I doing? I'm removing the paint and just moving it back and forth. And look, I've created areas where I just see right down to the surface. Too much pressure is being applied. Tilt your brush sideways and don't have too much paint on your brush. I can't emphasize that enough. Less is more. All right, so I used my 1-inch synthetic workshop brush to create this. We're talking about prep. So grab this piece out of the garbage. It was in pretty good condition, and because I'm going to texturize it, make it look old, I'm actually okay if it's got some nicks and some dings in it. So this, creating a faux barn board texture wood finish, this is perfect for anything that you have that's been tossed out in the trash, or you're thinking, oh, this is needing some, some TLC. This is perfect for it. Now, in terms of the prep, the question was, what if you've got wax on there? Yes, you definitely have to remove the wax, and a great way to test for it is to take your fingernail, and if anything comes off, you've probably got a wax on it or some sort of a finish that's a little bit gummy. So you're going to want to take some mineral spirits, wipe it down, clean it up a little bit. But really easy. Just take a cloth, wipe it down, and you should be good to go. It never hurts if you want to give a really light sanding to something that's a high gloss finish, like a cabinet. That's a great idea. Now, we at Fusion Mineral Paint have a product called Ultra Grip, and that is what I call for painting the impossible. So if you've got melamine cabinets, glass, metal, all you have to do is add that Ultra Grip for your first coat, and then you go on with your second coat with the paint. And again, it makes the painting the impossible possible. Because guess what? All those surfaces out there are made to resist everything, that including paint. But ours is manufactured to be a very, very high adhesion using 100% acrylic. And again, our zero VOC formulation means that when you're painting indoors, it's beautiful to work with. In fact, I cannot smell anything whatsoever. And that is shocking because I'm actually very chemically sensitive. If anyone is wearing perfume or has hairspray or anything like that, I smell it instantly. And even using other products in the past, when I've painted with something else, I react to it. So it's really important for me that I use something that I know is going to be safe. So this color, linen, comes from one of our designer collections, Michael Penny. He is a local to Toronto, Ontario. He's from Oshawa, Ontario. He is the DIY guru on the Marilyn Dennis show, if you're familiar with that show. And he is just phenomenal. So we've developed with him 14 designer colors, and this is one of them. And I love this one. It's an amazing neutral, and it's going to be our base layer. So our step one for our barnboard finish is our base layer of linen. And as you can see here, I'm using a little bit of a different brush. Now this is a natural bristle brush. What I like about this is it holds a lot of paint, so you can actually get a job done really quickly. But the downside with a really big brush like this holding a lot of paint is, again, what did I just say about that tip? Too much is not a good thing. You don't want to have too much paint on your brush, because what happens is you actually end up leaving more lines and brush strokes. So there we go. I've just taken one more coat across, or one more pass over rather, just to kind of smooth it out. It looks really pretty. Tip: when you are painting, if you can paint horizontally, that is the best way to use your paint, because it's just easier. It lays better and it's nicer. Now I'm going to flip to another brush, just because I want to use different brushes to show you guys different finishes. But you should be able to get a really nice smooth finish. Now this is one of our synthetic bristle brushes, and I love this technology. This is a new technology bristle. It is something that is kind of proprietary. It's a bit of a secret, but it lays flat really, really nicely, and it's a very inexpensive brush. It's about $15, $16 around there. So I'm going to dip that in. And when you're painting vertically, you're definitely, more susceptible to having runs and such. So you don't want to have, again, too much paint on your brush, but just enough. Let's touch again on the coverage. We are getting incredible coverage here, and I'm not using a lot of paint. That's one of the incredible things about Fusion Mineral Paint, is you do not need a lot of paint to, look at what I've used so far out of the pint. Hardly anything. And I have already covered almost this entire piece. So a little bit goes a long way. I am making a faux barn board look to create texture of a barn board, and I'm going to do that using Fusion Mineral Paint, 2 different colors, and using another medium that we're just going to get to very soon called sandstone texture. And that texture is actually what's going to make it feel like real wood, which is so cool, because I see, wallpaper on the markets these days that look like faux barn board. I see people painting and creating faux finishes, but they're not usually creating the texture. They're creating the overall look, but not the texture. So we're going to create it with the texture today. So this is super fun. All right, I am going to just put this to the side. I'm almost done. And what you want to do is give it about 20 to 30 minutes to dry, and then you can go on to the next step. So once you finish your first step here, which is applying 1 coat of linen in the Fusion Mineral Paint, and this is from the Michael Penny Designer Collection, we're going to let it dry. This, you can see we did this about 10 minutes ago, and it's almost fully dry to the touch right now. Really, really excellent. But typically, it depends on the humidity, it depends on the temperature where you are. If it's really hot and really humid, it's actually going to take longer to dry. And I know that seems counter, it doesn't make sense, but it's because there's too much moisture and heat in the air, and it doesn't allow it to start to cure. The cooler it is, but still a good room temperature is what you want for the best application. And in terms of how many coats, 1 to 2 coats is usually what you need. I've got almost a full coat coverage here with my 1 coat of the linen, and I'm really, really happy with that. So Fusion Mineral Paint, one of the beautiful things about it is that it has a built-in top coat. By using our 100% acrylic, that resin that's in there acts as the top coat, so it's all built in as one. Talking about that drying, it is almost done. Ta-da! Very, very quick, very easy. And again, it's cold, but we're just working in a regular room temperature here. A lot of people often say, can I work in my garage? It's really cold out there, will it work? As long as it's not freezing and it's a good, 10 degrees above freezing, you should be okay. And Fahrenheit, you want to keep it about 60 or 65 Fahrenheit if you can. So Fusion Mineral Paint is located across North America, Australia, Europe, England, and the UK throughout, Italy. We're worldwide, which is amazing. So go to our website, fusionmineralpaint.com, and look at the where to buy tab, and all you have to do is type in your city and country name and it will come up. We've got over 400 locations worldwide, so you'll be able to find it nearby. All right, so what I've done here is I put my first coat of linen on. That's my base coat. Then what I'm gonna do is I'm actually gonna mix two colors together. Which colors? Well, my top color that I'm gonna highlight with to do my driftwood effect, it's called Little Stork, and it's a very, very light lavender, almost white color. And this actually comes from our Tones for Tots collection, and the Tones for Tots line was created when I was expecting my first son, and my only son, little Taylor. He's having a nap. He's out for a walk right now. It's awesome. So that's why we decided to do it at 1 p.m.
Perfect timing, actually.
And so what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to mix the lighter color in with the darker color, and I'm going to create a custom blend of something in between. And again, this is not measuring out, this is not rocket science. I'm just doing an eyeball 1-to-1. I just wanted a variation between the two colors, and this variation is where I'm actually going to add my texturizing sandstone medium. And what I love from this is it creates a really, really fine texture. So if you want to create your own faux brick wall, this happens to be a real brick wall behind us. If you want your own faux brick wall, we actually have full stencils that you can just run this through and you get perfect brick texture and look from. So our stencils are called large brick stencil. Okay, so I'm going to take 1-to-1-to-1. Okay, so I'm just mixing those two colors together, and it's just giving me a slightly lighter color that I'm going to mix in the sandstone. Again, this is not rocket science. And I may add just a touch more of the sandstone. So I don't want it to be too runny. You want it to be fairly thick when you're working with it. See how it's kind of like a paste there? You don't want it to be too thin. If it's running right off super quick, super fast, then you probably need to add just a little bit more of the sandstone to it. Okay, and now what I'm gonna do is apply it, and I'm gonna use my little rocker. Fabulous tool over here. Okay, so I've got my brush, and I'm going to just layer it on. Now the beauty of this is it doesn't matter how you put it on, any which way direction, you just don't want to use too much of it, because if you use too much, I'll show you what happens. But I love this. If you've never done anything like this before, don't be intimidated. I promise you, it is super, super easy. And if you've made a mistake or you think you've made a mistake, I'll show you how easy it is to fix it.
Actually, I think we should purposefully make a mistake with that graining tool to show
how you can... I probably will make one because I'm human, so I don't think I need to purposely do it. But I think mistakes, they're not mistakes, they're misdirections, they're learning curves. There's nothing wrong at all ever with doing something and having it not turn out exactly how you had it in mind, because honestly, what in life turns out exactly how you picture it, right? This is just a wood graining tool. Very simple. You can pick it up at your store, and I've thrown on the texture all over. What I'm going to do is I'm going to turn it over and see how it's got all these little teeth right here. I'm going to put those teeth down onto the piece, and I'm just going to drag across. And look at that. What does that look like? Oh, it looks like wood texture. Really, really cool. Then I'm going to flip it around. There's these little half circles here, and we're going to put this side down next. What we're going to do with this is start with it down. So I'm going to start over here, and I'm going to pull across, and then I'm going to rock it down and then rock it back. Rock it down and then rock it back. So see here how you have a little bit of dragging and pulling? That tells me there's just a little bit too much texture on there. And again, we're kind of doing this on purpose to show you how you fix it. Okay, so I've got a little bit too much texture on there. I'm gonna grab some paper towel, and I'm gonna remove a little bit from my actual wood graining tool here so I can brush that out. And look, if I wanna fix it, guess what? I can go right back over top of it. Don't be too perfect. You don't want it to look like it's been manufactured. This is a handmade, hand-done piece. Look at that. Looks like a knot, a wood knot, just from this little tool. Really easy. So we're gonna continue on, and I'm just gonna flip it back and drag a little bit more across. You wanna keep the lines fairly straight. You don't wanna go wobbly. But if you do, again, brush over it and restart. Really, really simple. Now when you do the second knot, maybe start and stop in a different area. So I'll go down over here and then pull this across. So you can kind of do, you know, some randomness to it. That's the beauty of it, is being able to do complete random, and it's just so easy and so fun. You can pull across some more. Look at that. So this is really, really simple. It doesn't get much easier than this. Using the sandstone, what's gonna happen is you give this about 30 minutes to dry, but maybe an hour. It depends how thick it is. If you put a nice thick layer on, maybe right here where it's really thick, it'll take an hour to an hour and a half to dry. But everywhere else, it's gonna dry really nicely. And guess what? I've got one to the side that I did a little while ago. So we're gonna show you now the next step. After you've done your graining and you're happy with the look of it, we're gonna show you how to antique it. All right.
Can you just maybe tilt it?
Oh yes, if you can see here, look at this beautiful graining.
Mm-hmm.
It looks
so
fabulous.
Visually you can see the darker original color linen underneath of the lighter color linen that you lightened up with the little stork.
Yeah.
And when you think about when you buy barn board, it's very expensive. You have to have it kiln dried. This is brilliant.
Yeah, so very inexpensive and very, very easy to do. Again, so let's look. This wood graining tool was really simple to use.
It's available on Amazon, paint stores, faux finishing stores.
All over. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So earlier on, I did exactly what you just saw, and it's completely dry now. So again, it takes about half an hour, maybe an hour to dry, but if you're doing a large piece or a large project, by the time you finish one end and get to the other, I bet you the place where you started is totally dry and ready to go. So this is awesome. I know you can't feel it, but maybe you can hear this. It feels like actual faux barn board, which is really, really cool. And check out that texture. So what we're gonna do is give it a very, very light sanding. I happen to think that this side is my favorite. Just really love this one. All the knots and the way it really pulled through nicely. Quite beautiful. What we're gonna do now, if you have any edges that were a little bit rough or a little bit high, all you need to do is take a sanding pad or some sandpaper and just knock it down a little bit, okay? Just so that when you do pass your hand over, it's not super rough. We don't want it to be rough. We just want it to feel a little bit of the texture.
Well, I guess it depends on the look you're going for. Maybe you do want it to be really, really
totally
rough.
Depends. Here is what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna teach a little bit of dry brushing with our little stork color. And again, I said it kind of looks like that white, off-white color depending on the lighting. So I put a little bit on the brush, and I'm gonna take off some from the brush, okay? So less is more in this instance.
So one lady just said, could she do this on her kitchen table? That's Marge she doesn't say where she's from.
On your kitchen table, absolutely you can. And we do have, in particular, if you're going to be painting your kitchen table, we have a product called Tough Coat. And sometimes people like to add the Tough Coat just as that extra little barrier, although you don't need a top coat with Fusion. When you're using something like that daily over and again, it never hurts to add a little clear coat to it. And I always kind of refer to, hey, ladies, gentlemen, if you're getting your nails done and you add a base coat and then your paint and then your top coat, is it going to, hurt you? No, it's only going to help make the finish last longer. Is it absolutely necessary? No, the nail polish is still going to work very, very well. But again, that top coat never hurts. I love this. So all I did was I just did a really light dry brush, and I just went back and forth. And check this out. Can you get over to here and zoom in a little bit? Right on this little section here, it really hit all those highlighted edges. And again, it's very, very flat, but you get the texture. So again, less is more. I'm taking a little bit off. I love paper towel. I've always got them at the ready. And I'm just dragging across a little bit, and it's gonna grab on all those highlighted edges there. What I love about this is you can always add more. So start off with a little bit, and then I've just gone back and added more, just where I thought, okay, I want to have a little bit more weight there showing. All right, so I'm loving this look. This is just awesome.
Oh
Fabulous.
my goodness, that's gorgeous.
Okay.
That looks like you spent an absolute fortune on it from somewhere like Restoration Hardware.
Restoration
or,
Hardware, Urban Barn.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You could keep it like that, you know, just a bleached effect, but we're going to go one more step further.
Who gets to keep this when you're done?
I don't know, we're gonna have to fight over it, I think. Well, I was thinking of doing one more thing. So we are going to do here a little bit of stenciling. This is one of my absolute favorite techniques to do, and we are going to use a world map stencil. I love to travel, so anytime that I can personalize and put a little bit more personality into my pieces, I'm going to do that.
Need a hand.
I might need a hand.
There's a hand.
So I wanted to show that this is really, really, really easy to do. And the way I'm going to do it is grabbing a stencil brush. So it's a flat head brush there. It's very dense. And with this one especially, less is more. So you want to have as little paint on there as possible. So you're going to offload your brush. Offloading just means getting rid of as much of the paint that's on your brush as possible. And I use my really sophisticated, what are these called? Paper towels. Very sophisticated. So we're going to start off here. So the way I'm stenciling here, I'm swirling for the most part. And it's amazing how quick you can do it. Our stencils are made by Margaritaville. So if you're ever looking for stencils, go to Margaritaville Studio. Just do a quick Google search and you'll find all these gorgeous stencils. And our Fusion merchants carry them as well. So if you're looking for this world map stencil, check in with your local merchant to see if they've got it in stock for you. Just adds a little bit more personality to it and a little bit more dimension. All right, and this is where we're gonna have a lot of fun. We're gonna do some waxing. And I'm gonna show you how easy it is. Why are we waxing? You said, Jen, it has a top coat. Why are we putting a wax onto it? It doesn't make any sense to me. We're not adding wax for protection, we're adding it for age. Added instant age, which I love. And I have to say, I actually really love using a brush with my waxes. I find it really, really easy to apply. And then I'll show you how to remove if you need to remove any excess. All right, so this is a black wax. It is very, very pigmented. You need very little of it.
Just a dab.
Just a dab. Okay, what am I doing here? I am gonna be dry brushing some wax on, and what is it going to do? Can we get a nice zoom in and just see how it's gonna, look at that. It's just gonna add a little bit more, grab some more of that texture from that sandstone. You can really see all that. What we've done is we've got the perfect balance of our wax. It is not too strong, it's just strong enough. And I've got a secret for you. Say you did this here. I'm gonna do a boo-boo. Okay, wow, what did I do there? For one, I used too much wax.
Way too much.
Way too much. If you're applying wax like this, that is the wrong way to apply wax. All right, so what I'm gonna show you how to do. You want to offload, again, less is more. I can't say that. I think I've said that 10 times throughout this whole event. Less is more. So you're gonna remove that. And what happens if, okay, so I'm taking my cloth. Jen, it's not coming off. You said it would be easy. I've got a secret for you. Take our clear wax. It is unpigmented wax.
That looks awesome though, by the way. Can I just say I love this look right
Yeah,
here?
I love that too.
See the high points of the little stork? That's what I go for.
So
that's super antiqued.
it's all about the look that you want, and play and have fun with it. There's no right or wrong. If you love that super heavy, dark textured look, fabulous. Add more wax. Did you see what I just did there? I removed it. It's like a magic eraser. Using the clear actually removes the black. So if you've done a boo-boo or an oops and you think that you've put way too much of your dark on, then you can actually remove it. And if you want to have a heavy amount, you know, just play with it and see what you like. But don't worry, you can't go wrong with these products. Okay, so I'm gonna do kind of like a half and half and just show half with the wax and half without. Okay, so here's where I've kind of got the before and after. So here's the before with just the kind of whitewash dry brushing effect. And then here is the after with the wax. If this is too much for you, it's too dark, and say again, you did this and you just were not loving it, you can take that clear wax and it's that magic eraser. I'm just gonna put it right in the middle and show you. Look at that. Okay, like magic. If you put too much on, don't worry. You can take it off really easily. So I love that I'm creating some of it a little bit darker and some of it a little bit lighter. I'm just doing it to my eye, whatever I think looks good. If I want to add a little more, remove a little bit. But again,
Well, typically, I mean, you want to make it look a bit aged and dirty, so wherever it would have gotten more dirt applied, which is usually at the bottom, right?
bottom, so down here I can do a little heavier. The edges are going to be worn more. You're going to have more, people are going to kick there more. Here is our beautiful barn board texture. This is our beautiful world map. And we want you to hit subscribe so that you can watch more on Hometalk Live. Again, I'm Jenny Lynn Pringle, creator of Fusion Mineral Paint. I want to thank you so much for joining us today. We hope that you learned a lot. Come and join us. Take care. Bye, everyone.